have a very short conversation and then go further with the Ellie and Peter. But there's one question which really relates to what you just said about the changing position of the arts and the merging of the arts, the participation of the audience. We're coming from a tradition where the artist was a genius, from the Romantic tradition, and the technology opens up possibilities to be even more the genius by taking all art together, but also opens up possibility to be less of a genius and be as courageous as you to open up to the audience to participate. How do you see this position of the artist, as there are, of course, artists here? What's his and her role nowadays?
Yeah, I think for my generation, I've been doing this for a while, I think what I feel for me is the honest thing to do is probably to still for the rest of my career, maybe to do two categories of work. Because I think it's still important. I think it's important as an individual. I think it's more than an artistic question. Let's talk about it as a human question. Mm-hmm. I think for every single one of us, it's incredibly important to be able to find personal time and quiet time when you don't need to answer to anybody else, to find out who you are and what you care about and what your values are and what place you have in the world without any constraint at all. And I think every person needs to do that and every artist needs to do that. I mean, why else would you be a person or why? But at the same time, if you do that in isolation from the rest of the world and don't evolve your own self as a person and don't see yourself as a person in all kinds of communities, then I think as a person you're incredibly lonely and not fully developed. And I think, and especially in such a fractured, we live in this crazy world where we feel like we're connected to everybody, especially through social media. But I don't know about you. I have a 15-year-old daughter, and she uses social media a lot, but starting about 6 months ago, about every week she turns off her Facebook and she says, is this me making that sound? Okay. So I just wanted to say, I know my daughter's been finding that, and there's an article in the New York Times today about how many young people are turning off their Facebook. So my daughter seems to turn it on and off every other day. Because I think there's this false sense that you have a large community and you're really connected to many people through that kind of media, and all of a sudden you wake up and feel, oh my God, I'm twice as lonely because here I am having these conversations and I don't really know that person. This isn't a real relationship. So I think that the whole question of who we are as individuals and what it means to actually be connected to the world is very, very complex right now. That is the central question. And I think as an artist, it's simply magnified in terms of your own personal vision, your own personal work, and then how you use your work as a way of building that kind of community. I think it's not enough, probably, I recommend to most young artists that you certainly have a right for some of your work to form your total personal vision, the way of presenting it, the way of disseminating it, and then just send it out there with no compromise and no dialogue, and that's an experience. But I think everybody should think about the fact that that's only a little small part of the way the world is now, and part of the role of being an artist is to think about your connections with other people, and that just sending something out in the world isn't a very modern way of thinking about that, I think. So given that, there are many ways to approach it.
Yeah. Thank you. And thank you for now. Take a seat and take some water. We'll talk later about the presentations to be followed after the break. But for now, thank you very much.
And are you going to introduce?